Team Slayer.
Alrighty, we're going to deep dive into Damnation. This is one of my favorite maps because it is a very strategic map, so your decision making is going to matter about as much as your pistol or your sniper. So every minute, the camo and the overshield spawns. Rocket spawns every even minute, so 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 2 sets of snipes on the map, up here on Catwalk and down there inside Sniper Room. Those spawn every 30 seconds. So most everybody who plays this map knows that you want to hold green room. This is the most powerful spot on the map because you have easy access to the camo and you have high ground over the overshield and the rocket launcher. Also, there's only really a couple ways to break into here: through the teleport, which is very exposed and basically just a doorway, so you're pretty much dead if you walk through there, or through bottom green, which the tunnel here makes you very susceptible to grenades. Also, it is a very loud tunnel, that's why it's called clinky. So you can hear the pitter-patter of the little Master Chief footsteps as they try to sneak up behind you. Standard setup for this is something like somebody standing here, deep green, your teammate on green plat, teammate down in sniper room, and a teammate in top shotties. That's not the absolute best way to play this map, but you could do worse than having this setup. So in essence, you always want to have 2 or 3 people controlling up top. That way if they try to make a push, you don't just have one guy here who gets overrun and then everybody just gets this fast track into top green. So if you are the guy that is sitting here deep green, your objective is to help with the port, help to spot if people are trying to come up clinky or come from snipes, and most importantly, give your teammate top spawns. It's not super useful to spawn your teammates down in bottom green, because then they just have to make the trek back up the top green, which is going to take a couple seconds before they're in the game helping to defend portal, and also exposes them to sniper fire from sniper room. So really you want to spawn your teammates up here on top green or up here on green plat. When you're spawning your teammates up, you are spawning them directly in potential sniper fire, so you always have to think about that and always be there to help your teammates fight off their spawn. One of the single biggest mistakes that I see people make out of green is having too many people push out of green to try to spawn kill red. It's very important that you do try to push out and get the spawn kill on, because the team in red base wants nothing more than to sit back and wait for the next set of power-ups to come up so that they can nade those down and make a play for green. So if you are holding green down, the onus is kind of on you to push the pace of the game. That being said, usually I see 2 people dropping down into sniper room trying to snipe out of elbow because it's a coveted position. You have lots of sniper angles, and sniping is just very damn fun. The problem is then if you have one person who like pushes up here into top shotties and dies, maybe eats grenades from red door or something like that, maybe lose a pistol fight, maybe somebody comes through, then you only have one person left. And any team with any kind of decent communication is going to know that you only have one person left here guarding port, and they're just going to port through and overrun your guy. So if you want to push the pressure, if you want to make plays, and you have somebody anchoring deep green or top green plat or whatever, usually I like to do that through top shotties. I don't go down low. It is nice to have a teammate sniping from down here, but I think 2 is a little too many. So when I try to push in, I usually don't go from red door, although that is an option. I think one of the best ways to push in is by coming up here all the way to the port, and you can push right through and kill people who are spawning their teammates on a random, or standing back here on red random trying to knock camo down, or people who are down here because they don't know the better nades and they're standing in one of the dumbest spots to nade down cam, but it does still work. Actually, I don't know if that nade will do it. Hey, it did. Okay, I kind of got a little bit distracted, so I want to come back and talk about how to be aggressive into red side. Obviously, through the portal is one way. One of the biggest benefits that you have from playing out of green is access to their side of this portal. So say that you're like dropping down right next to them, which, oh my god, I just did that terribly. Shut down again. If you're dropping down right next to them, it is very fast and easy just to harass from this side and then just drop out through the portal again. And portal play like that, and the ability to not do what I did and break your legs on your first drop, but to be able to run back and through and kind of make this figure 8 is something that I found to be very useful when fucking with people on red side.
Oh yeah, another thing. Although it is often pretty darn dangerous to push in through red door, and the reason for that is often somebody will be back there on the random or hanging out on either side of this, and this is just a grenade trap, and that's a grenade trap, so you don't have too many places to escape to. The value of taking this over is immense because once you're up top here, you can force um, repetitive bottom red spawns, and you get access to their grenade pile. So now you've just limited their resources down to just the one grenade. And because you have high ground advantage, it is very easy. I mean, you have to dodge out the nades that are gonna be like bounce off the back wall or whatever, but it is very easy to stay alive for a long time up here. And force them to continuously spawn down in the bottom, and they can't really run out waterfalls either because your teammates will just straight up murder them. This is one of those scenarios I was talking about where you have to be mildly careful about not being overextended as a team. Like if you get into here and you have them spawning down bottom red, it's really helpful to have another teammate come in here with you. But once you have like two people down here and maybe somebody in sniper, um, maybe they could spawn in sniper room or something, or spawn in green random. So just pretty easy to overextend here and fuck things up and lose green control. But that being said, top control in top red when you have them spawning bottom red is something that you should be able to keep going for a little while and get quite a few kills off. And here's just a quick drop away to safety. That's a spot too. Kill off that spot.
That is possible to stand there on short ladder. The couple of reasons I really don't like this: one, you can get shot from green plat, you can get shot from top shotties, and you can spawn your teammates right here out in the open. You're kind of dicking them over. There are much better ways to nade down the cam than doing it from short ladder or from red door. One of the best ways to nade cam is by standing back here on red random. If you're standing here and your teammate is dead, it will give them a random spawn, or spawn based on your teammates if you're playing 4v4. If you're coming up on cam, you want to look at these two stars here, put your reticle right in the very center on top of both of them, and throw that. That nade takes about 8 seconds to land and blow up, so you do want to throw that at about 52 if your timer counts up, or throw that about 8 seconds if your timer is counting down. That is one of the best ways to get cam down because you are nice and safe, mostly nice and safe. A lot of people know that you're going to try to do this, and they'll try to push in, either snipe you from elbow or push in, snipe you from red door. There's another way to nade cam down. It is safer and actually faster. The travel time on this nade is only 5 seconds. Line up directly with this wall, put your reticle into the corner, and then go over to the right into the center hash marks. And actually I should not have done that because camo isn't going to be up, but trust me, that'll get cam down. And then you can just hop over and grab Ovi, although if you're against a reasonable team, you probably don't want to throw that nade and then try to run out and grab Ovi. And really you don't want to grab Ovi from this perspective anyway. That's a pretty bad path. They're usually, like I said, somebody's going to be sniping out of sniper room and somebody's going to be top shotties, and if you're down here on waterfalls, you expose yourself to both people, which is another thing that gives green an advantage. They have the plasma nades here, they have the frag pile right here, and they get these frags right there. If you're on red side, you only get 2 frags. You get the frag pile that's down there in bottom red, and you get the frag pile that's right on the other side of this red door. Pretty much these plasma nades, although they exist, are off limits. So if the other team has green control and you're trying to break through, single biggest mistake that people make is they just don't know to be patient and wait on the next set of power-ups. So you'll see people like charging through port, which is really stupid because what's the point? What even are you trying to do if you get one person dead? You're still just, best case scenario is going 1 for 1. That's pretty dumb. Also see people trying to fight out of red door, which is not great because people can be shooting you from green plat, they could be sniping you from elbow, and they can be shooting you or just sticking you super easy. They can even hop out here and shoot you from an angle. So really, key to playing red is just being patient, waiting for power-ups, nading power-ups down, trying to get the cam OV rockets, and then making a play through portal is typically the best way to go. And you can preempt that. Your teammates can be throwing nades up on green plat to try to give you some cover, maybe get some smoke screen, push people back off this. Because when you do have cam and you try to port through, a lot of people will see the telltale flicker. So if you have cam OV rockets and you're trying to make a break, just push here into the corner and wait. See if there are any grenades coming. Actually, probably first thing you want to do is listen. Do you hear any nades impacting? Your OV is going to last for like 45 seconds anyway, so you don't have to just like grab it immediately and run out here. Sure, it's going to take you, 5 seconds or whatever, 10 seconds to grab that cam and get here, so you don't have too much time left. But I highly recommend just staggering that timing a little bit, waiting a few seconds, listening to the nades, and then porting through. Are they sniping at you immediately? Are they throwing grenades? Do you have to back off? And then you can sneak through. I personally like to run down to Deagle. You can go through top shotties, that's also just fine. One nice thing actually about going through top shotties is that if they have somebody up here, you can just rocket them and then immediately take cover behind a pillar. One valuable thing, and I'll show you this also later on, is that to cross gaps like this, you don't need to jump. You can just crouch when you go right across. Not a big deal for up here. It is a really big deal. I guess I'll show you that right now. It's a really big deal for down here. So you guys spawned in shit or snipe room, or you have really shitty teammates who just want to hang out in snipe room or hang out in shit, or whatever the scenario is. It is often extremely valuable just to immediately jump right out the window, jump right out rockets, and then wind up, try to establish your teammates in mid-red. If power-ups are about to come up, but they're not up yet, you can just drop right down immediately, and you don't have to jump across these gaps, so you don't have to stick your head up for sniper fire or to let people know that you're here. You just run and then crouch right across the gap. And this is actually a pretty decent spot. No matter what the setups are, this is a pretty decent spot to try to get control of camo V-Rocks. Dangerous because usually people here are going to look down at you. It's pretty common to see somebody sitting right here, so it's pretty common for this guy to look down. And he's going to look down at an inconvenient time too, because you're seeing that like 8 seconds until camo comes up, so you're going to be looking up like this. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll throw this at like 2 seconds or something left. And that gets cam down. But if you are looking up with 2 seconds left, at 2 seconds left, often the guy from sniper is going to want to be dropping down to OB or looking or whatever. So that is a pretty dangerous spot, but very, very, very useful. From red, another thing, so if you're playing the power-ups game, if you're playing very patient, but stuff doesn't quite go your way, you got to remember that if you get overshield, you're still going to have overshield when the next one comes up, right? Or your cam is going to last until the next cam is almost up. Or if you get that late, and this is probably best case scenario, but if you get the cam late so that you can double up on cams, you don't have to make the play on the same rotation that you grab the power-ups. You can grab the power-ups and then use those for the next rotation. That's just something that people who are playing out of red get wrong all the time. They feel like they just have to always constantly be trying to break into green, and that's not the case. You can play out of red side. You're at a disadvantage for sure, and eventually you're going to want to try to break into green, but just kind of throwing yourself at the portal or throwing yourself through bottom snipes and then maybe people over here die and suddenly your whole team is spawning snipes is just a really shitty way to try to break that. Really, what you're trying to do is just wait for the correct opportunity. Maybe oftentimes, actually this happens way too often than it should, you'll have people who are overextending. Like I said, 2 people down on elbow or snipe room or whatever, or maybe they're trying to like push you through red door and they just overextend their team. Then you could just make a play right through the portal. Pop right out immediately and try to like get some shots on this sniper guy with ducking. I find that works pretty favorably most of the time. Most people aren't just going to immediately headshot you. You can get some shots, back them up, and then like clear the way for your teammates, and then you can just push through. Of course, I missed my little walk down to the time, but you get the idea. I made up a sniper nade just for this video. I doubt this is going to be the most optimum version of this grenade, but at least it works. So you line up with this wall, you look up and center your reticle right on this star, throw that grenade. We will watch it come, but you don't have to. But it bounces off this tine, bounces the sniper off into this corner, and you have to catch it from out here. Not the most optimal grenade because you do have to catch it out exposed. Someday maybe I'll try to figure out a way to get snipes there, or maybe there's other videos. I'm sure somebody else has figured this out. But that's nice and easy. Now you've got a sniper rifle on this side. Line up with the wall, center your reticle on this star, and that gets that down. I think that's most everything. Oh, okay, so we know the mistakes on green side, which is having too many people down low, not enough people anchoring up top, maybe spawning your teammates in shitty spots. Oh, another thing. I guess I probably haven't gone through this yet. If you are not nading the power-ups immediately as they come up, you are playing the game wrong. Don't ever jump out for cam. Oh, that's another thing. I could show you some more cam nades. Don't ever jump out for cam unless like you just wiped the other team and you just feel that you can. For the most part, you are always wanting to grenade back the camo. And when it is stuck right here, it takes a hell of a lot, or it's probably not going to ever come down at all. So just factor that in, knowing that the other team can't be sitting here with, like, well, they could be sitting here with rockets ready to kill you, but they probably aren't going to be able to get that down. So you don't, when you nade it back like that, you've kind of already won that fight. Let's see if that'll do it. It dislodges it. Oh, okay, so they can't rocket it and get it down the red door. That's good to know. But of course, if cam is up and you're standing in the pit with rockets, you're probably getting shot by somebody. But pretty much when you're nading cam back, you can wait, or you could just grab it immediately, whatever. Just realize that they could be rocketing that. Another spot to nade back cam. Very common spot. Standing on this little box right here, looking at this wall, and centering right here. And actually we can, it's not going to be up right yet, but that nade would get cam back. And actually that's a really nice nade because it doesn't just push it back here. Ooh. Okay, well, we're going for a ride. It doesn't just push it back, it knocks it all the way onto top shotties. So from there it is also a little bit harder to get down for the other team. If you are not nading power-ups back immediately as they spawn, you are playing this map wrong. That is just a requirement. You have to have them coming back on the second that they spawn, or within a second or two, because anybody competent is going to be nading it, and they will get that down away from you. So with that being said, a big mistake that I see people make when whether they're playing out of green or playing from red, is that as we're coming up towards power-ups spawning, they don't have any nades because they threw all their grenades for some odd reason. They're just trying to get some random kill or whatever. If you're playing on this map, your grenades are strategic tools. Don't just waste them for no fucking reason. You have to have them up to nade back power-ups or jump up with OV or, you know, fucking whatever. So just factor that in. There's a nade spawn here, but you really don't want to be doing that, of grabbing that after they spawn to nade back stuff. You're just gonna fuck up. Shit spawn. Let's talk about this. They call this shit because it is shitty to be here. It is the worst spot on the map. Often people who are very, very bad will grab snipes and try to set up here and do some sniping. Don't do that. You're just completely and entirely, totally fucking your team over. If you do spawn down here, one thing that you can do if like your teammates are dead is you can run into this corner. You'll spawn them up top, spawn them on snipes. That can be nice. Obviously, you can just jump right off the map. It doesn't cost you any points, but you will reset your spawn. If you're spawning here in the beginning of the game, especially if you're spawning like down here or something like that, where you have like a teammate up here and you know that they can get up, it is not a bad idea at all to run out through here. Actually, pretty much at any point in time, it's not that bad to run out through here. If they spawned bottom red and you're getting into a pistol fight, that's lovely because it means that they did not spawn top green and they're already jumping on the cam or whatever. But at any point in the game, you can come running out here and try to play from here. If somebody's up on red shelf, you're kind of in a bit of trouble. But you can just jump across like this if you don't feel comfortable jumping across without looking. It's probably better just to throw yourself off and die, honestly. Because otherwise you're just jumping in a straight line. Everybody's just going to pick you off. But pushing over to red out of shit is very important. Of course, if OV's up, you can just grab that and jump right over.
If you do find yourself spawning bottom shit, one thing that you can do when you know that they have green control, learn this from Private 99, is just look right at this pipe here and just start winging grenades. like that, I guess. You don't zoom in. I guess you don't zoom in. Okay, that's good enough. Don't zoom in. Just look right at the pipe. Start winging grenades, and then you can jump and wing grenades. And so that should have been, 4 grenades into their base instead of 1 on me. But you have a new stockpile right here of grenades, and it is pretty frequent that you can pick people off with those grenades because the first set lands here, and this is a common hover spot for people. And I want to say, I know this kind of looks a little funny because they obviously all went off right here, but I want to say I think that the second set can land somewhere around there. So you get some pretty good coverage of top green from there, and that can be pretty darn useful for preempting your break up through Clinky if you do want to try to make that break. I guess I'll show the way that I break through Clinky. It's not always the worst thing to go. I think a lot of people focus on trying to break through Clinky, which is just a complete fucking death zone. But it's not always the worst way to go. One thing that I like to do is try to jump to the side because you can silence your footsteps. And if you're fast about it, you can just jump right through Clinky and get maybe 1 clink off. And actually, I didn't get any clinks at all right there, so I think that was a silent run. But if you're standing centered below this light, you can get your teammates to spawn on green plat, which is just super useful if you're trying to push in, to have them pushing from that angle as well, especially if they're just like focused on you and they've completely forgotten about your teammates. Then it's not a big deal for you to die down here at the bottom because then maybe your teammate comes in and cleans them up. The way that I like to push in is I'll push usually from the side like this, getting nades to push people off that the top shoddy spot, and then I start moving in like this, start throwing grenades, and basically what I'm doing, oops, I should have bounced that off this wall to land up here. Basically what I'm doing is with every grenade I'm buying myself space that I don't have to look at, so when I'm hitting the nade here, I can move in like this and know that this guy's not like looking straight down at me, or at least less chance, maybe a nade off here, a nade off here. And then I can push in like this, and then I bounce the nade off here in case there was still a guy here that wants to pop out at me while I'm looking over in this direction. And then I'll bounce the nade off of here in case they're on green plat and they're coming in, so that I have my flank covered while I'm pushing up in this direction and looking top shotties. It works a decent amount of the time. The other thing that you have to be aware of, but is also kind of a resource for you, and this is, I really don't mind pushing through Clinky if I know that I'm causing enough of a distraction that my teammates are able to like get the power-ups. But one thing that you can use as a resource, like if you're fighting this guy up here on top green plat and you know that somebody's dead, it's a reasonable chance that they're going to spawn somebody down here. And then you can, it's kind of dangerous for you because they're getting like extra grenades to throw at you while you're in Clinky. But you can pick people off their spawn when they're spawning bottom green. But for the most part, you're either pushing up through here situationally, hoping to out-pistol somebody or whatever, or you're just kind of creating a distraction for your teammates to grab the other power-ups.
If you guys find yourself spawning in snipe room over and over, maybe your teammates know enough not to be in shit, but they're getting spawn killed here, they're getting stuck here, you guys are rotating deaths here, just jump right off. Just jump, if OV isn't there, whatever, you can just very quickly make your way into red. Of course, I missed the fast jump from that to short ladder, but whatever, very quickly just make your way into red, just jump right out immediately. You really, really don't want to be in shit or snipe room when the other team has green control. You are just completely fucked. I think that's everything. It's everything for now. Everything unless I've forgotten stuff. I probably have forgotten something. Certainly you can go and watch other people throw better grenades than me to get all the power-ups down. I think I covered most of the basic ones in this video. If you guys have any questions, or if I didn't cover anything well enough, just let me know in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer your questions.